Morning, everybody. My name is Amy Ryan. I am the current chairperson of HPBA. I am pinch hitting for our erstwhile leader this morning who has contracted laryngitis, so we'll give him a pass this morning. I want to welcome everybody to Dallas and to Expo 2019. We're looking forward to a great show. This is a great week to see wonderful products, see old friends, and meet some new ones. I want to thank you for getting up early to come see Mike Holmes. We're really excited about him, and I think you're going to enjoy his presentation. One housekeeping note, after Mike's presentation, we will have our general meeting from 9:15 to 9:25, and then the show will open at 9:30. I would like to thank Napoleon, who is our sponsor of our keynote address this year. I think it adds so much to bring everybody together before the show starts to have this kind of presentation. I have the honor to introduce John Zerwanka. Hope I got that right this morning, sir, from Napoleon. He joined them in 2013 after many years of experience in brand management, product development, and business expansion at Masco. I'm pleased that he can be here today and welcome you to Expo. So, John?
Good morning, everyone. Everybody ready for this day today? Amy, thank you. HPBA, thank you so much. It's a great opportunity and a great honor for us to be here today. Napoleon, we regard this as our most important event of the year. When you think about what we do as an industry and what we do individually in our respective markets, we really think that every one of us lives our vision at Napoleon, which is to inspire and enhance the most memorable moments that people enjoy in their homes, really helping them realize the dreams of the products that we bring to life. So from that respect, it's very much an honor for us to be associated with every one of these projects, whether it's new construction or remodeling an existing project. So from that standpoint, very much an honor. We take this responsibility very, very seriously, right? We feel that we have a responsibility in everything that we do to support the industry, to support this association, and to make sure that we're constantly moving this business forward from today and into greater heights even further. Last year, we did Hotspots as the keynote speech. And Hotspots was some groundbreaking research that Napoleon brought to the industry to really inform the influencers in the industry, the builders, the remodelers, the architects, the designers. And over a period of time, attachment of a fireplace to a home has been going down. And at Napoleon, we were concerned about that and what can we do to help support the industry in creating and infusing energy back into a builder and a remodeler wanting to put hearth products back into their home. The research that we brought to the table, we have presented it over 2,000 times at over 200 different sessions, 2,000 times to about 20,000 people, excuse me. So we've done a pretty nice job as far as creating energy and excitement with our business partners out in their respective markets. They've hosted a lot of these events. We have gone out personally, and we've also sent out other resources to the larger events to talk about the importance of fireplaces and hearth products in a home. So we do believe that people enjoy their more memorable moments in their homes with their family and friends, and it's not just about a grill, it's not just about a fireplace, it's what you do with the products that all of us bring to life. I had the honor a few weeks ago of meeting Mike Holmes and his family. It really is a family affair, the Holmes brand. The power of social media is pretty amazing. He came into our booth and spent 15 to 20 minutes with us walking through the Napoleon booth at the Builder Show. The response was pretty cool, I must say. I woke up the next morning and I'm getting all these texts on my phone. And they said, "Did you check out the Napoleon Facebook page?" Well, little did I know that after that event, they were going to post this on the Napoleon Facebook website, and there were over 20,000 hits the morning right after. And that's the power of brand. That's the power that Mike Holmes and his organization brings to the table. Mike Holmes, not only a big DIY network star, he's also a home builder. He has aligned himself with many home builders throughout North America with the Mike Holmes brand. I've had an opportunity to meet about 150 of those so far. Mike is a man of real character. He, if anybody has seen his shows, if it's not right, he tears it out and he makes it right. So he has a reputation of high quality, high integrity, and doing it right the first time. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you guys to our keynote speaker today. He will be in the Napoleon booth from 10 to 11 after this speech. So let's give it up for Mike Holmes.
Mike, I need Holmes to make it right.
That's not how you wire lights.
Just the way to not do things.
What's wrong with this picture?
Pick it up. That's ridiculous.
The Renault attack. Boom! We have a doorway. Now that's how you get a kitchen.
Let's bench press.
Oh, I've got my feet off the ground here.
Okay. All right, you made me laugh. That's a good start to the day.
Oh!
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mike Holmes.
Well, hello. It is an early start to the day for everyone that got up. I don't know, was anyone at Top Golf last night? Put your hand up. That was a crap load of fun. I mean, Napoleon bringing us out for that. Golfing, having a couple of drinks. I had a couple of beer while I watched other people drink an awful lot more. And then I got back to the hotel and most people were at the bar, so I assume they stayed up a little late. I think there's just the amount of people that's out in the building right now are in here, but they'll be here really soon. You know, it's funny, when I was growing up as a little boy, my father was a jack of all trades, master of none. And I didn't understand that statement until I got older. But I was the little guy that was curious of what he was doing. And he realized he couldn't send me away. I wasn't doing anything else. So he started to teach me. I was about 6 years old when I rewired the whole second floor of the house under his supervision. A little freak of nature, actually. By the time I was 12, I finished my first basement, bar, plumbing, electrical, the whole thing. I think, but I was about 14 when my dad started telling everyone, hire my son, because everyone wanted to hire my dad. He worked at General Motors. He was a second-class engineer. You don't know what you're going to do when you're younger, but this is what I did. By the time I was 19, I was offered under contract a good amount of money to run a big company. And it's funny, because I looked at my son when he was 19. I had long blonde hair when I was 19. I thought, how come you can't do that? But I guess I was just that confident guy knowing what I was doing. I was 21 when I met this lady who said to me, I want you to design and build my dream bathroom. So we took a bedroom, we took a bathroom. I redesigned it, walk-in cedar-lined closet. She wanted the Hollywood mirror with all the lights around it, television. And I just made her dreams come true. And this lady would walk out on the street and just stop people to say, you've got to come see my bathroom. But it was pretty surreal. But I got to tell you the story. I asked my dad to come in. I said, Dad, do you mind doing the rough-in plumbing while I'm doing everything else? I was just trying to get him involved. And he did the rough-in. He didn't come back until I had completed the whole project. And it was a really big, beautiful bathroom. And he came in the door, and he started swearing at me. I'm like, what's up? Why are you upset? He says, Mike, this is freaking beautiful. Like, this is beautiful. I said, Dad, you can do this in your sleep. He goes, no, I can't. I can't do this. You speak codes I don't even understand. You talk stuff that I don't know. And I realized at that moment, my dad was freaking proud of me. That was the moment that he was like, my son is doing well. Who would have thought? My dad was a DIY guy. You know, he couldn't afford to bring in people. He would do his own work, and I just got into it. It was probably, oh my goodness, 30-something. I'm getting older now. My goodness, I'm telling you, I'm just up over to 50. I hit 50, 55 actually, going on 56, but I'm still a contractor. I still love my job. Probably around 40, just under, I met this guy at HGTV in Canada, and he wanted me to build him a custom straw bale home. Never built one of those. I actually studied it, I looked at it, and had many meetings with him. As a matter of fact, I went to his office down at HGTV, and I said, hey, Mike, okay, I want to thermal break the outside. I understand the R40, everything about the bale, and what I wanted to do was make a better structure, not just use the straw bale as structure. So, make a long story short, I continued the conversation, he's listening, and then he starts stopping me. He's like, no, Mike, I know what I'm doing, I know what I want. And this continued, and I thought, well, why the hell are you asking me to build your home? Why don't you build it? So he actually got on my nerves because he wasn't listening. Is that funny? He did. So I said, you know what, Mike? I said, this reminds me of watching your television shows. I can tell there's no permits. It's all terrible information. I haven't seen one show on your channel that does it right. So for 30 minutes, I've got diarrhea of the mouth, the veins are out of my neck, and I'm telling him, I'm sick and tired of this. The Flip It shows are flipping me out. And I decided to tell him what type of show he should have. So after the 30 minutes, and I realized I was going like crazy, I look at him, he's looking at me really strange, and I said, you know what, Mike, I got diarrhea of the mouth, I gotta go, you know, but I gotta get to work. And he jumps up out of his chair and he says, I want a pilot right away. And I laughed my head off. I said, I'm a contractor, you want me to be on TV? He goes, it's gotta be you. So I said, I'm too busy. I said, no, but thank you, thank you. Months later, he keeps bugging me, keeps pushing me. And he says to me, I notice you like to teach one family at a time. And I said, that's what this is all about. He said, how would you like to teach everyone at once? I said, you son of a... Okay, I own the show or I'm not doing it. I'm a Leo. He says, I don't think that's a problem. So we started filming. That was 18 years ago. We started filming. I didn't know how to film the show. I mean, production, I didn't know this. All of a sudden, I'm a producer and I'm a contractor and I'm doing all this work. But production means to produce television. So they tried to get a camera. They tried to get me to do things like, okay, Mike, say this, Mike, say that. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. That doesn't make sense to me. So just, again, to make a long story short, I get this phone call from a friend of mine who says, Mike, I hear you're doing a television show, and I know my buddy, he's in really big trouble. So I'm listening to the story, and I said, I'll be there in the morning, set it up. So I drive out to this guy's house. It ended up being the very first show we did called Whole House Disaster. And I walked through, I knew the people were gonna go bankrupt. I knew they were gonna lose everything. Whoever the contractor was that went in this house screwed them royally, leaned them at the end. So I leave there, I phone the new producer that's working with me, and I said, I've got a story for you. Just tell him I'll call him back, don't worry. I said, I got a story for you. And I tell him the story. He goes, Mike, we're supposed to be doing bathrooms in the kitchen, not whole houses. And I said, Scott, film it or not, I'm gonna help this family. He goes, okay, slow down. So he comes out with the camera. Not too many people know the story. He comes out with the camera and he starts filming. He's just shooting at the waist. And I'm walking around the house going, this is wrong, let me explain why as I'm walking with the homeowners. I start asking them questions. How'd you get here? How much money did you give them? When did you decide to stop? By the end of me being there and he was filming, he says, I know how we gotta do the show. Keep it real. It's really that simple. Just let's follow it, let's teach, let's show what's right, what's wrong, why it's wrong, and what we need to do to fix it. The network, I'll never forget, was terrified when the show was about to air. They thought that everyone was going to sue HGTV because Mike Holmes is throwing big blocks through windows. I never said who they were. I never said this is Joe Blow Builder, he screwed up. I said this SOB rip these people off. That I did say, because to me that was real. Other people that see me say, how come you don't name them? I said, because they can change their name the next day. And then we've got a television show that talks about George the Builder, and now he's Harry the frickin' Carey guy, right? That doesn't work. So the show starts to air, nobody sues. It breaks every single record possible on HGTV and grows HGTV for the next many years, and then goes around the world in over 100 countries. Why do you think the show became so big? Why? It relates to people. Somebody knows someone that's been screwed. Somebody knows someone that's been taken advantage one way or another. Or people want to learn actually how to do their house. In all my experience, homeowners want it done right. They don't want to hire the people that don't know what they're doing. But we live in a fast-paced world right now. So really, when it comes down to it, husband and wife, they're like, okay, you know what? We're ready to do a new kitchen. They get all excited. All excited. They go out and look at cabinets. They do everything. They do everything a little bit backwards. And then they pick up the phone. They put the money together for it. They know approximately what they want. And the first person that walks in the door with a heartbeat, they normally hire. He says, I want 50% down. I'll start in 3 months. And that doesn't usually happen. That's how it relates to people, and that needs to change. And I thought that over all these years, this would change. Imagine for me that every single day that the emails that I get from around the world, Ireland, you know my show's in Dubai? That doesn't make sense to me. Why is my show in Dubai? But they like it. It's a hit show. Australia, I get. You know, Ireland, I get. Africa, I don't get, but I get. You know, they're watching the show. What I'm trying to do is to make a difference. I thought if I was going to do this, and it's funny at the beginning, I said, I'll give you 2 years. I'm really busy. 16 years on television, and you won't let me go. I can't disappear. I can't stop doing this. The networks can't get enough of the show, and they think I can do 12 houses in 2 months. It's impossible. It takes a year. We film 12 months of the year. I think I'm one of the only production companies out there that never stops filming. Come, meet people, come and talk with people in between, go to the airport, go back home and start filming. I will be filming first thing tomorrow morning, and I will be flying home late this evening. But I'm used to that world. I love what I do. What I want to do is make sure that it's done right the first time. Anyone see Holmes in New Orleans? The show that I did in New Orleans. So Hurricane Katrina hits, and it's funny because after that I said, oh my God, we got to go in and help these people. We got to do something about it. And the reason I said this was because I knew the flood took out all the houses. It wasn't so much the hurricane, it was the flood, the walls breaking, the levees. And I said, they're just going to keep building in the sand. There's got to be something we can do about this. So Brad Pitt, I didn't know this, watched my show all the time and happened to love my show. And what does Mike say? Mike says, make it right. I tattooed it on my arm. I wrote books. It's everything. I actually trademarked it, registered trademark. He wanted to start the Make It Right Foundation. So when this went public, you know, we were like, hey guys, I own Make It Right. What are you doing? Right away, I think the whole organization thought we were going to sue. And I'm like, I'm Canadian. We're not going to sue. But if you want to use the name, I care about it enough that, you know, I want to make sure you use it right, not just make it right. So we got on the phone, and I got on the phone personally. I said, why don't I come down there, film it? I will help engineer the very first house, build what you need, and we'll televise it. And they were all excited about that. Brad promised to be on the show. So I didn't see Brad, it didn't matter, I was on a mission. We packed up, we shipped everything out, and it all happened fast. We went down to New Orleans. And the whole goal was to have at least 6 houses ready by the anniversary date 3 years later, because no one really did anything down there. Did anyone go see it after that, the aftermath? Man, that was ridiculous. When we go in, there's no electricity. So we're running on generators, we're working with, you don't call them the hydro company, you call them the electrical company, Hydro in Canada. Hydro's water here, which is fine, I understand the terms. The electrical companies, they don't even want to come in and turn on the power. They didn't care about the people in the lower 9th Ward. Nobody seemed to give, I almost swore, nobody seemed to care about the people down there. Anyhow, it was the hottest that I've ever experienced working in that time. We built a Category 5 home that was designed, and the whole theory is it would never mold, it would never blow down, it would never fall down. And the most funny thing is by the time we got it done, Hurricane Gustav threatened to come in. We actually had to leave. I filmed, gave it back to the family, and we went right to the airport. And what I wanted to do is I said to my cameraman at the time, I said, Richard, let's stay here. Let's shoot from inside the house. And he was game. He's like, oh man, I'm in, Mike. My office finds out that I want to stay there and shoot this and make it part of the show, that this house that we engineered, that an architect, 13 different architects from around the world designed, will work. My office calls me on my cell phone right away, and they said, Mike, you got to come home. And I said, no, I'm staying here. I'm gonna see this out, and I want to film this. Can you imagine the footage? And they're saying, what if it happens again? It's not the house that's going to fall down, but what if for 6 weeks the area is flooded and you get stuck there, there's no food, the craziness begins again? I said, book me a flight. It just made sense, didn't it? Don't stay there. That's not a good place to be in a devastation or a craziness. But the wonderful part about this was it didn't even scratch the house. It didn't damage the house in any which way. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. We made it mold resistant. The way we bonded it together. I worked with engineers down there. And it was funny at the beginning when I first started this, I'm sitting at a huge table with all the people that are, we're going to make it right. We're going to, Brad Pitt's here. We're going to make it right. And not too many people knew who I was at the time that was at the table, but I could hear someone in the background saying, oh, this guy, he's from Canada. He's going to put the vapor barrier on the wrong side. And I stood up and I said, first of all, I don't believe in a vapor barrier. I believe in not a thermal barrier, but a thermal break. Living in a cooler, cool it with an ice cube, heat it with a candle. And I continued to teach this. We were very successful. The show won awards, and we started the Make It Right build. What happens after that? What happened recently? Anybody hear about Make It Right in New Orleans? They're getting sued. Brad Pitt was on the show, great guy. I met Angelina. It was wild because when I'm waiting for Brad, Angelina's in the park with her couple of daughters. Kids were there, and they're all pushing me to go meet her. I said, no, she's a crazy star. Everyone wants to meet her. I'm okay. They dragged me over to meet her. I talked to her for about 45 minutes. Really down-to-earth lady. I really liked her. Nice people. And she goes, oh yeah, you're that Mike guy. Brad loves your show. And it was funny. To me, that's where Make It Right came from. He did love the show. Brad afterwards was on the show, but Brad afterwards pulled his name out of it, pulled his whole thing out of it because he saw it going in a bad direction. The first thing that happened, and this is the sad part, and it drives me insane for everyone putting so much together and so much effort to make it right in New Orleans. So let's start making it right around the world. The real estate went up overnight. The people that had the property started selling the property, and the whole theory was to take house after house after house, stormwater management control. Everything was in design. But because this started to fall apart, because people were selling the property, other people were coming in and building a house, it broke the system. Make It Right, the foundation, tried to continue to build it right. And unfortunately, I guess, they just didn't keep building the same. The same thing happened. They started to build not as good. There started to be problems. Houses were starting to mold again. They weren't following the design of what we started. And that's a real shame because that fell to the side. And all of a sudden, you don't hear about it anymore. You only hear about the lawsuits. For me, that was shameful. That's not the right thing to do. You know what, I pride myself, it was something my father always said to me, you're only as good as your word. That will end quickly if people start talking bad about you. Putting a bad taste in people's mouth at the end of the job always screws up everything. Just do what you say you're going to do. Care about what you do. Learn about things. Being on HGTV and DIY has been an opportunity for so many other shows to come out there. People watch television to say, I love that kitchen. I love what they're doing. And they all create and want that. That's human nature. That's what we want. So it's created that market that now the boom is going very well. Business is good, yes? And it's only going to be better, staying on top of this. I started the Holmes Approved program, and I was the only one in the country of Canada at the time. It wasn't about buying my name. Holmes Approved Builders was, we came to you, you couldn't come to us. We tracked out who you were, that you were the best at what you do, that you care about what you do, and how we can work together to make it even better. And the idea of being a Holmes Approved Builder was really simple. You must have Mike Holmes Inspections come in and document the build for a third-party verification that protects the home buyer, that protects the builder, and protects me. It was a big setup. I mean, this took years in the making. I had to start Mike Holmes Inspections before, because I had to do the horse before the trailer. I then started working on the best products in the world, BASF, 3M, Schluter, you've seen the orange product. There's so many Holmes Approved products, but only the best of the best. It's not about money. It's about creating the synergy and that tie together to make a difference. It's working. For years now, it's growing. We're down in the United States now, moving across the United States. We're not running, we're walking. We're making sure we find all the right people that want to work together. Finding the company down here that was going to work with Mike Holmes Inspections to be the third-party verification. This has worked very well. We're at the IBS show not too long ago when it snowed in Vegas. Go figure, it snowed in Vegas. Does that make any sense? But it does, because it's what's happening right now with global warming. And it's funny that Trump joked about it when it was, I don't even want to talk about Trump. But he joked about it because it was, oh, well, so much for global warming because it's freezing. Look, global warming is going to create storms. Snowstorms, vicious storms, rainstorms like we've never seen. This is going to happen. This is history of the planet. I'm a freak about history of the planet. I understand it. And it's going to get worse. So what does this mean? Why is it that humans' instinct is it to not fix something until it breaks? You understand? No different than a homeowner wanting to do a brand new kitchen, but their roof is leaking. What do you do first? The roof. Then you do the kitchen because you want the roof to protect the kitchen. We're doing the same thing in theory of building and things that we're doing because we're not paying attention to what's happening to the environment. In Florida, they went back to building with cinder block or concrete homes because the three little pigs love it. It makes sense, right? It will handle the storms, the high winds. It's really simple to understand minimum code, right? We don't need to change minimum code, but we need to understand it's a beginning of something that we should be doing. I can easily design a home that everyone will love, that the three little pigs will love. It will never mold. It will be environmentally friendly. It'll be a healthy home. Things we don't know and don't see is what's in the air. Do you know what's in the air? Do you know we breathe approximately 18,000 spore counts of mold in 1 cubic meter of airspace every single day outside? Did you know that? Okay, what does that mean, right? What the hell's Mike saying? Our bodies are used to breathing it. The amount of oxygen that's in the air, the mold spores that are in the air, and as soon as we introduce more mold spores inside the home, 80% of all houses in North America have contaminated air inside their home. And we don't realize this. We just can't see what's in the air, right? Out of sight, out of mind. But once you start to know this, a simple solution is an air cleaner. That's just a simple solution. Have we not seen a rise in asthma, bronchitis, allergies? Man, I never had allergies till I was 40. Then all of a sudden I've got allergies. What the hell's going on here? This is due to our indoor air quality. When it comes to commercial codes are so much higher, we must have a 100% airtight system in here. It must be clean air because there's more than one family in the home. There's many families in this place. That's why the codes are so much heavier in commercial. So I think what I'm trying to say here is it isn't going to take much to make changes. It's about products. If we're going to use drywall, use mold-resistant drywall. Really simple. Nothing else should be sold on the market. If we're going to use lumber, let's treat it so it won't burn and it won't mold. It's not a lot of money. And I can go on about products and what we can do. Now, if you build a house just the way I'm saying it, make it a little stronger, which is easy, glue, right? PL Premium, glue. That's what I said to the engineer down in New Orleans. I said, don't do a 1-inch staggered nail pattern for hurricane status. Do a 4-inch staggered, because you're just taking a machine gun and blowing that stud vertically. Do a 4-inch and use PL Premium. And it was way stronger. He's like, yeah, let me do the math on that. He's like, do that, Mike, I like that. Okay. My point to this is that we can actually do something that makes sense. I don't want to see the cookie cutters, the fast houses keep being built because people are buying them. This is the change we got to make. We got to start telling builders who are not buying their homes and say, we want better homes. The single most expensive investment of your life is your home. And I still, to this day, do not understand how we continuously will hire people to build sub-homes. You understand? Not good enough, not strong enough, not clean enough, not healthy enough, not environmentally friendly enough. It's not a big calculation. This is really simple. Working together is the synergy that I'm talking about. We have the opportunity to make the changes here. We're seeing wonderful things happen. Men want the man cave. Who saw my garage that I built, Mike's Ultimate Garage? Oh, man, you got to come see my garage. It's got a bar. It's got to have a bar. I didn't put a toilet in there, though. I probably should have, because that had a bar. Okay, anyways, I built a house for my cars. And the whole theory about this garage, I used a cinder block that was new on the market. It actually wasn't new, it's just no one knew about it. It's like 60 years old. Durasol block. It's made of an STC class of 62, sound transmission class. So sound transfer was phenomenal using the block. I didn't mortar it. I glued it. You can screw to it. You can cut it with a saw. It's an R28, all on its own, just the block. This thing is so strong that even the building inspector came in and said, what are you doing? Are you building a bridge? You know, like, no, it was simple theory. And this garage is so beautiful, by the way. It is a house for my cars, but it was me trying to make a point of how to build a house. And in this, my cars sit and I get to go in and sit inside it, but it's quiet. I heat it. Imagine just over 2,000 square feet. I believe it's about 2,300 square feet. I heat it with a 10,000 BTU heater. Is that possible? Is that logical? Not in this world, right? Anything on that size. What do we need? Is that Wolfgang sitting there? How you doing? I'm on a plane, Wolfgang. I'm on a plane. Some guy is sitting beside me. His wife's on the other aisle. I thought I should get up and let them two sit together. But as I'm sitting by the window and everyone's coming on the plane going, Mike Holmes, how you doing? Reaching over Wolfgang, shaking my hand. This was, I don't know, 3 years ago, maybe 4. And Wolfgang says to me, I'm really sorry, I don't know who you are, but clearly, he's the owner of Napoleon. Clearly, you're known. Why are you known? Oh, I said, I'm just the guy that fixes crap day in and day out. And we got into a great conversation about wood burning and beliefs and ideas. You know, I said wood burning isn't really the solution, but actually, in a way, it's what we've been doing for years and years and years. And when you start looking at it, it's really not bad. What we do need is backup heat. That's for sure. I don't know if anyone's been freezing cold and all of a sudden the furnace doesn't work. Things only break down when they're not supposed to, right? Having a fireplace makes sense to me. I like natural gas, but Wolfgang came up. I didn't even know at the time that they did furnaces and air conditioning. I only know at the time I knew Napoleon as a fireplace and a barbecue. The man stuff, right? Gotta have it. Through this conversation, we formed a relationship. I liked him. He's the type of guy that wants to build the best, that stands up to it, that actually in his company, from making barbecues, his whole focus was the furnace, actually. And he started making barbecues to keep his people employed. And it made sense to him as a business strategy. And that just goes to show who the man is and trying to put together the smartest and the best. And let me tell you something. They do make the best furnace on the market. And then they don't pay me to say that. But I know they do because we've installed one of these in one of the houses that I did in last season of Homes and Homes. Wood burning, natural gas. So if ever something happened, natural gas went out, the furnace went out, you got wood burning, you're back to the basics, back to the simplicity of years ago. I mean, how we used to lay tile was over a bed of sand. Did you know that? 2,000 years ago? And it still stands. It's over a bed of sand. Schluter comes out with the Dietra, which is the same theory. It's an uncoupling membrane that allows two separate surfaces to move without cracking the top. All theory. Building these relationships really worked for me, and I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep shooting television, even though I thought I would buy an island and disappear somewhere, and my son and my daughter would take over, but I don't think they're ready yet. They're doing very well. They're normal. They can talk in front of the camera. They're not afraid, and I love the hell out of them. Am I talking too long? Who cares? I like you. I like you. This is all really working for me. I'm starting to get excited with opportunity with the backyards, right? Everyone wants now the backyard. It's not just the man cave that I was talking about not too long ago. They want that serenity. I remember years ago when I was a kid living on Lewis Street in Toronto, and everyone sat out on the street, right? They sat on the front porch. That's the way it was back then. It was craziness. The fights from mom and dad, other people that cry. But everyone was social. Everyone was, hi, George, from across the street. Today, we try to build fences taller than they're supposed to be, over 6 feet, because we don't seem to want to really be talking to our neighbors. But what it does do is creates that wonderful serenity place that we can do to a backyard, is making it the retreat. Outdoor fireplaces, big barbecues, family get-together. At least we're still doing that we're enjoying being with the family and trying to bring them in. So, this is why business is doing so well for you, isn't it? Later on, they're going to be doing a barbecue in the back. So I miss all the good stuff. I got to come in. I come in late yesterday. I get up early. I talk to the people. It's great that you come out here early. And I missed the barbecue later on. And I hear that the Dallas cheerleaders are going to be here. It's like, well, I'm flying home. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But it would be fun. You know, it'd be part of what we're doing. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing for a reason, because it isn't about being on TV to me. It's never been about being on TV to me. It's about a business that makes sense. If I'm going in this direction, if I'm going to use this vessel, this train, I'm going to drive it right. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep doing this. I want to design a community that makes sense, net zero. Do you know we can have this? I designed one for Alberta, and man, the red tape behind all trying to change bylaws, change people's thinking. I wanted a community with 1,200 houses that took water from the ground, not from pipes, cycled it through the ground, through also using it for geothermal, controlling stormwater management, reusing that water, and cleaning it. So the whole community would actually never pipe to the city for sewage, for water, and I'm just talking sewage and water at this point. We could do it. We proved it. We could do it. We could use the stormwater management of all that water, hold it, and then use that for geothermal. I wanted to run geothermal lines through the street. I had to change bylaws because you're not allowed to run it through the street. Sidewalks, driveways. Why did I want to do that? For the areas that snow, you don't need to put down salt. You don't need to bring in trucks to plow it. It doesn't have a freeze-thaw cycle. Everything made sense to me to do this. I wanted to use my theory in building the houses that made sense for environmentally friendly, building them smarter, building them better, building them that they'll last, and making sure that we help the environment by saving on energy consumption. This was really easy to do. This was like, to me, it was a no-brainer. We can do this. Here it is, right? All of a sudden, the red tape came in, and it got harder and harder. I want to build the greenest community in the world, and it got harder and it got harder. Why is this so hard to do? Am I that much of a freak? Does that not make sense that, you know, I'm thinking out of line? I shouldn't be doing this? Wouldn't you like to live in a community like this? Seriously. This community is called Windwalk. It is designed to encourage you to walk. I want to bring in golf carts. I actually wanted Each and every house, when you bought a house, you picked the color of the electric car that's in the garage because it comes with the house. This isn't out of mind. This isn't craziness. This is simply easy to do. The problem is when you try to change the norm, what people are used to, when you actually wake up in the morning and flick a switch, but not know how the power is connected to the switch to turn on the light. When you know that we should change that bulb to LED, and when LED first came out, I was a big excited guy on LED. No one liked it. Why didn't they like it? Because it was blue. We weren't used to it. We're not used to change. That's the problem here. I think that if we keep this up, change is slowly coming in. LED is really doing well now. Did you know that white, it's called daylight, not blue, cold, but daylight shows true color. 100% true color. Every single art gallery out there uses daylight, so they show true color in the paintings. But we're so used to using warm light, everything's yellow, it's diffused, it changes the color of your face, the color of your skin. But we didn't know that because we were brought up with it. We're used to it. So that change, which is a great example of just going from standard incandescent bulbs to LED daylight, was a huge change for people. But all of a sudden it's coming in. What lights are these? That's daylight. That's white. We use colored light for accent, for enjoyment, which we should be doing. I like that idea. But that simple point of what it takes to make that kind of change, LED is now massive. No different than the electric car, you know, gasoline being a problem. And man, I can keep talking about these things, can't I? What we need to do is start building this way, start talking this way, start working together with people that have the same, let's say, desire, the same ideas to put something like this together. It's not hard. We can make the difference. I'm sick and tired of seeing the floods. I'm sick and tired of seeing the storms, the high winds that take the shingles off the roof, that over and over again, I'm sick and tired of seeing this. We know this is happening, and it is now time to do something about it to make it better. It'll be less insurance. Anyone gone through an insurance pain in the rear end? Anyone? I'm shooting a show next week. I started it yesterday, actually, the day before yesterday. Nice family, 2 people, normal people, good people, work hard, save their money. I like helping good people. Small flood in the kitchen, goes to an insurance claim. Jesus, 4 months later, they're waiting for them to come in the door. 4 months, everyone promised. They came and do a quick cleanup. The place is terrible. Turns to 6 months. They finally come in, they do a little bit of work. A year and 1 month later, they're attempting to finish it. Can you imagine that? A year and 1 month later. When they're putting the fridge in, they install it, the fridge that night floods the basement, breaks because the water line breaks. That night, the insurance company comes in the next day, they do a quick cleanup. Almost 2 years later, the fridge is still in the middle of the floor and they haven't done anything because they want to turn it into a second claim so they can get rid of the people. What is wrong with this picture? Something so simple, and I don't want to knock the insurance world. I don't want to knock the contractors. But pros don't usually work for insurance companies because they don't have to. Changes need to be made within that system. So I'm filming this to try and show people. You know what I really want to do? I'm going to tell you, not anyone else. Are we filming this? Is there going to be evidence? I want to do a talk show that no one's ever seen. Okay, what's a talk show? I've been on Ellen DeGeneres. She's funny, she's smart, great woman. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't even know what to call it. I don't want it to be a talk show, but I want to do a show where I am with an audience. And then I bring up Mary in the audience, and I say, Mary, come on up here and sit here, and let's talk about your problem. And I want to highlight it. I want to bring in lawyers, the Lean Act, and I want to show everything that shouldn't be happening, what people can do to have choices, and I want to help Mary on the talk show. I want to excite the audience. I want to teach them. I want to give them challenges. I want to bring my son and daughter in. Now, if I do this, I can shoot a whole lot more television shows because it takes an awful lot of work to do 12 to 16, 18 houses a year for television. Should I try that? Would you watch it? because that's what I want to do. So I talked to the networks. I got to tell you, I talked to the networks. We'll keep it between us. I talked to the networks, and they're so tunnel vision. It's like, oh, we don't really want a talk show. No, they seem to fail. They tend to move in the direction no different than what I talked about earlier. Not change. Stay with the normal. What's working? Flip it is working. Flip it houses are working. Let's keep doing that. I even said to HJ, I said, you don't have a really good talk show. That's what you need. You need a change now. Let's do this. I'm going to be Howard Stern, Mike Holmes, Dr. Roz, all in one. Can you imagine that? Because I'm not going to mess around. I am going to make the changes necessary because that's who I am. I'm going to bring in the people, and I'm going to tell people straight. When I see, I'm on the phone 2 nights ago with this guy. Welcome to my world. Can you imagine my world? Someone that knows me, I need to talk to Mike. I need to talk to Mike. I just get home from work. Anna tells me, and I'm like, okay. I phone up Peter. Peter, what's the matter? Well, there's 10 custom homes being built here. I bought one of them. I used to cut my grass. I bought one of them. You know, they're all leaking in the basement. There's nothing but problems. The government hasn't passed everything yet. And I said, people are living in it? How are people living in these houses? So I get more into the conversation. Half the houses the contractor came in 3 years later and liened the homeowners for over $200,000 each family. One of the families he's telling me about, there is so much mold in the house, they call my people. This is this synergy I put together. They call my people. They come in, they prove there's 20,000 counts, so that means 20,000 spore counts of mold. Indoor air quality, really bad for you. Too much mold goes into your lungs. What happens is your lungs start to grow mold. And when your lungs grow mold, there is nothing you can do about it. You are going to die. Odds are you're never going to make it because your lungs now become a mold factory. It's not like you're just breathing it in. It's because it becomes molded. The couple, and he's calling me about a couple, not about his house, even though he's been lean, he's going through hell. This isn't going to stop to help this one family that he feels so bad about because they're so sick, they're out of the house. Now, what's my problem here? As I'm on the phone, I'm trying to control my heart because as I'm getting older, it beats a little faster, it beats a little stronger, and holy cow, I got to take some pills here and there. I don't know why, right? It's probably because of who I am. I'm on the phone, and I'm like, so he's leaned you. Have you talked? Have you walked through with the building officials? What's happening? What have you done? Have you talked to the news? And I'm thinking, what do I have to do? This is the opportunity. Do I got to get a camera? Do I got to walk up to that contractor's door and knock on his door and go, buddy, who are you? What are you doing to these people? Do you realize what you're doing? And you're leaning them all right now? You are in Mexico. He tells me he's in Mexico on vacation as he's screwing everyone. How does the system allow this? One, how can a contractor lien you $200,000 more than your contract? How can he do that? How can that happen? You know what I said to him? I said, now that he's liened you, you have to hire a lawyer. You can't solve this yourself. You have to have the lien removed. Hiring a lawyer does what? Costs money. More heartache, more problems. This is one story that I get in one day that happens to me every single day. And maybe now you see why I really care enough and I want to do something about it. And I want to do this talk show where I smack people that deserve to be smacked. Because they deserve to be smacked. There's no consequences. How can you screw people and there's no consequences? You go to the store, you steal a pack of gum, you go to jail. Or you can go to jail. You do it twice, you're going to jail. You rip people off. You take advantage of them and you don't go to jail. You're still doing it. The guy's starting another house. You know, it's 10 custom homes. This is just one builder. So yes, it's getting to me. Yes, it's starting to bother me. But I am going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep doing what I do, and I want to keep meeting people like you so we can create the synergy and we pull in the best people to do all the best things. I don't really want to knock everyone. I want them to stand up. Something my dad said is, you're only as good as your word, right? You get what you give. I want them to go back to school one way or another. I want consequences out there that you can't do this to other people because I think that's absolutely necessary. Because the world I live in, I see this every single day. I get up and I speak. Do you know how many times I've done this? Thousands of people. And I'll have a lady slowly walk up. She wants to hand me an envelope. She starts crying in front of everyone. I'm telling you, this happens to me all the time. Mike, I need you to look at this. I've tried to email you quite a few times. I mean, I've filmed across the United States. I could film just in Dallas probably every single day, right? But I read this story. So I'll take it, I'll ask her name, I'll take that home, I'll read the story. I keep seeing this every day. I'm the guy, 1-800-GOT-MIKE. You know, they have no one else to go to that gets to see the stress of what's happening to everyday people that don't expect it, don't deserve it. And yeah, that's gonna frustrate me. Yeah, that probably lights the wick on my ass that keeps me going to make a difference, to keep trying to solve something that I thought would have been fixed by now. I really did. But it will. It's not just me that's going to do it. It's going to be everybody that's sitting here. It's going to be the people that care, because only the good people make difference. Only the good people make changes. Does anyone have a question they want to ask me? You already know my age. Any question, I'll answer. Put your hand up. Everyone gets nervous when I do this, but all of a sudden, one person asks a question, and then there's a lineup. Your name? Hi, Matt. Yes, I do. So do I have a list of Mike Holmes approved products? Yes, I do. You can go to makeitright.ca. You can see all the partners I'm with. Go to the International Builder Show. You'll meet everyone, including Holmes approved builders. And again, I'm going to continue to grow this, but it can only be in necessity, like the block, as an example. You know, what I do is I phone up owners, and I phone up the owner, and I'm like, "What are you doing with this? How are you doing it? I see how we can change this. I want to take that block, turn it into a 3-foot block. It's half the weight of cinder block. I want to make it a Holmes approved product, but I have to help change it first. I have to help make it make sense." Now we teach, right? I mean, you don't have to have it. You don't have to mortar it. You glue it. You put it together. We backfill it with 60 MPa, which makes it stronger than anything. But it makes sense to me. Now there's another cork product that we have from Vipec, and this cork product is a cork spray. So let me tell you a little bit about it. They have a cork tree, let's say, area. So it's really environmentally friendly. They pull the bark off, which is the cork. It grows again, they pull it off. So it's very environmentally friendly. They turn it into a spray. It looks like a stucco. It comes in many colors. Has a Class B fire rating. It has an STC, sound transmission class, to it. It has a thermal break at 1/8 of an inch. It's product of the century, people. We should be using this. I mean, they're doing it in Arizona. They're spraying the shingles, just so you know. They're spraying the shingles. I'm like, why the hell are you spraying shingles? You should be taking the shingles off and putting up a metal roof, because I keep going on as to why. But all of a sudden, I'm listening. You're going to spray asphalt shingles. One, a hot sun penetrating the shingles creates a hot box, right? And hot box is another term for thermal break in roof or ceilings. But however, hot box I'm talking about is the attic space. Stop the hot penetration from the sun, have a Class B fire rating on top of the shingle. I'm starting to look at this going, you know what, that's not a bad idea. Because when one house is on fire and the embers go through the air, it comes down on top of the asphalt shingles, which is an oil-based product, and burns the house down from the top down. So all of a sudden, there's a Class B fire rating. All of a sudden, you're stopping the hot transfer. You're creating a thermal break just in one theory of putting it on a shingle. Me, I see how I can combine this. You can spray it over brick. At 1/8 of an inch is a thermal break. What is a thermal break? Can anyone answer that? Thermal barrier, thermal break. What's the difference? I want to give away something. Who wants the podium? I'm going to give away the... I can do this. My name is Mike. I'm giving this away, Kelly, wherever she is. What's the difference? One keeps moisture out, one keeps heat out. Thank you. Thank you, you're close. So I'll make this really simple. I'm about why. I don't have it. Glass of water, ice cubes. What happens to the outside of that glass within seconds? In this room. It condensates on the outside. Has nothing to do with the water inside other than hot meeting cold. That's a thermal barrier. That insulation and vapor barrier. Hot will meet cold. It will produce moisture. Anytime hot meets cold, we have a natural convection airflow in the wall because cool air drives low, hot air rises, creates a convection in the wall, right? Simple theory. Thermal break is cooler. It's a cooler. It's the crappiest foam on the market. It's 3/4 inches thick. It's in a cooler and keeps your ice cubes in there for 3 days. That's a thermal break. So if I said to you, do we want a thermal barrier home, which is minimum code, or do we want a thermal break? With a thermal break, now I'm going to save on energy consumption because I'm going to hold the heat, just like I hold the cool in the summer, the air conditioning. So we save on air conditioning, we save on heat. Oh, at the same time, because we stopped hot from meeting cold, we stopped the first food group of mold, which is moisture. What's the second food group of mold, people? I'm going to give away this speaker. Second food group of mold is not sunlight. Anyone? Sorry? Oh, wood. Ooh, not bad. It has to do with wood. So first food group of mold is moisture. Second food group of mold is organic. Live product. You know you're organic. That's why you can actually grow mold inside your lungs. So paper on the drywall, lumber, anything that's organic can easily grow mold. And once it grows mold, it will continue to mold. So knowing that, okay, we do thermal break it. We stop the first food group of mold. All of a sudden, we probably won't mold. Pull out the second food group of mold, and we won't have mold. It's simple theory. It's something so easy. Mold-resistant drywall, treated lumber. Put in a fire treat, so it's an A and not a B, Class B fire rating. It won't burn down. That makes sense. All of a sudden, you're saving on insurance. You're saving on all kinds of things with just simple changes. And simple theory. It's what we do, how we teach each other. See, I have fun doing this because I love talking about not so much change, but what I know, because it's something that's so simple for me. I look at this, that's why the show worked. Because for years I looked and I said, why is this molding? Why is this molding? And then I learn. And I find out why it's molding. What do I have to do to stop that from happening? And I get the answer. And that answer makes total sense to me because it will stop. It'll make a healthier home. It'll make a more energy efficient home. It all starts to make so much sense to me to do this. Now, since it's early, should we go for a beer? No. How about breakfast? Bacon and eggs? I watched everyone last night at the bar drinking. Was anyone at the bar drinking last night? I said, I'm going to the room. I have to speak in the morning and my tongue has to work. My lips have to move. It's not like I haven't done it before and went to news 7 a.m. in the morning. And I tell Seth, wherever he is here, he's one of my vice presidents, if I'm hungover and you're hungover, because we shouldn't have done that, we had a night out, don't tell anyone I was hungover. You're coming with me and you're going to sit in front of the camera because, you know, we got 5 minutes. All I got to do is put it together for 5 minutes and go, I'll never do that again. How many times have I left Vegas and said to customs, I don't feel well. I just want to go home. What is it with Vegas? I remember the first time I went there. They're drinking on the street. Is that allowed here? That was the first time I went there. Now it's 100 times later. Fun. Everything we do, we can make fun. We can get together. Yes? Now, that's a great question. For your industry, I think there's massive opportunity. And I think it's, remember, people have temptation. And that temptation is, I want that. When they come to the show, I want that in my backyard. I want that in my kitchen. I like that fireplace. The one that you can touch the glass. My kids will never get burned. They won awards for this fireplace, by the way. Indoor, outdoor fireplace. So it's on both sides of the wall. Brilliant. Now, take the heat. What can you do? You just show people opportunity. You show them and you tell them the truth on everything. Hey, look, you can have this. If you want to make change, if you're going to do something new, especially that backyard retreat, create it so they can see it. Use the best products. And with that, I remember talking to the president of Home Depot one day, because it's what I do, right? I called Jimmy Carter Jimmy. It was probably wrong of me. I should have called him Mr. President, but he wasn't the president anymore. His name was Jimmy, and I called him Jimmy. I said to the president of Home Depot, stop selling crap. Be the first out there. Don't sell the green drywall. It's water resistant. It's not mold resistant. It's not waterproof. Don't sell it. Sell the one drywall. Brag about it. Tell the world we only sell environmentally friendly, mold resistant, water resistant drywall. The president said to me, which made sense, I don't think you understand, Mike. This is our #1 selling drywall. And I sat there and I said, I understand making money. I understand doing business, but you're the big store. You know, you should be the one that leads it. You should be the one that says, hey, this isn't a bad idea. We're going to teach people why we're not going to sell this drywall, why we push the drywall companies to make a better product, and we're going to sell that. Eventually, they probably will, because they're a good store. I don't want to knock them. They are doing their best to make it right, to do it right each and every single day. But that's what you do. Show your products, how you can use it, how we can take that barbecue and put it anywhere. Never mind just the barbecue, but the fireplace, indoor, outdoor, electric for that matter. Electric fireplaces now is just, it's about serenity, right? You still get heat from it, but we want to be more efficient because we don't want to use too much electricity. And there's ways of doing that, working with me. There's ways of doing that, making a smarter fireplace, which is what Wolfgang likes to do. That's why I like that guy. He's a really good guy. Yes? Yeah. Okay. Right now, because, and it's not my stats, this is government stats, 80% of all houses have very poor indoor air quality. One of the simplest things you can do is buy a couple of air cleaners and run them all the time. Clean the filters, because the contaminants that are in the air, if I teach you, you'll fall over. It's no different than, you know, when I was younger, I bit my nails. I don't bite them anymore. But did you ever look under the scope to see what's under your nails and what the hell you're biting? Once you know that, you're like, shh, I'm not. Might as well wipe your ass and put your finger in your mouth. Sorry, I'm a contractor. We can put in whole filtration systems that attach to the HVAC unit. It's really just a HEPA filter, right, on a standalone unit. AmeriCare is one of them. They don't pay me. But there's many different companies out there. Honeywell's another company. This is something that I encourage everyone to do, because who has kids? I have kids. I have grandkids now. They're the ones we need to take care of. We tend not to take care of ourselves so much, but we do pay attention to our kids. So please, as simple as an air cleaner, we all should be using it. We used to have a house, old houses bled air like crazy. Stack effect, pulling that air out of the house, pulling the cool air low from a chimney, created stack effect theory. Because that house leaks so much, it pulled in fresh air all the time. That's why old houses, as much as they're problems galore, because I can tell you, probably full of asbestos, full of lead in the paint. I'm the guy that's got to go in and pull all this. Abatement company's got to come in now and do it. Years ago, we didn't know this. We just did it ourselves. Clean air is #1. #1, because now family's related. #2 is make that home energy efficient. The little things we can do, spray cork the outside. Little things we can do, the changes that we can make. If we have damage, if we're going to do a renovation, using smarter products. That's going to make the difference, and it's going to make your kids breathe better. Anyone else? Yes?
Yeah, like, what do you suggest to the homeowner that doesn't have Mike Holmes next to him that wants to do renovations or build their own house?
You know, I wrote the first book called Make It Right. I drove around in my truck from job site to job site talking into a recorder. Things that I do. I dream of work all the time, but I talked in a recorder, and it was the only way to have me with a homeowner. That's Make It Right, the first book, like holding your hand. Here's how you need to take on a job. In other words, the renovation is a job for you. You need to learn about it. You need to educate yourself. You need to check out your contractor, not the first one. You're going to probably talk to 10 of them. But you need to plan the time for it, because it's not going to happen overnight. The more you think it's going to happen overnight, the more odds that it's going to go upside down. I really don't know anything else other than writing that book, other than saying, I just hope people, because it is up to the homeowner, that they learn to talk to the pros. They're out there. Are you licensed? Show me, you know. How long you been in the business? No difference than a home inspector. I don't want to knock all home inspectors. That's not what I'm doing here. I don't want to knock the people, but I want to teach people You can work at McDonald's and become a home inspector in 3 weeks. So it's not like you don't want to hire that person, but you want to know you're hiring that person that just started, right? So it's asking the questions. How long you been in the business? What did you do before you were a home inspector? I would personally like to see all home inspectors used to be contractors. I'm getting old. I'm getting tired. I'd make the best damn inspector on the market, right? I could make good money doing that, giving advice, looking at houses. But I do that at a much bigger scale. I'm only one person. But I could do that personally. All right. Any other questions? I know they want to get my butt off the stage. Your name? What kind of cars do I have in my garage? You know, it's funny. I was never really a car person. I'm a truck guy. But I do have an autobiography Range Rover that's 510 horsepower, supercharged. I love that car. I have two 1932 Ford Roadsters that I had custom made. One has an LS2 Corvette engine. I bought the Boss 302, the last one, because they only made them twice. I put in a supercharger, and that thing is a jet. And then I just recently bought a 2007 Corvette with a 427. Man, that thing is and I don't drive them because I work too much. And I think I'll be honest why I bought them. I wanted to invest some money. I keep thinking of my kids. No matter what, everything I do is about my kids and my kids' kids, my future homes. Just buy them, put them away in the garage. They're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to fall apart. They're not going to rot. And the day I die, they've got something, right? No different than other things that I've bought and they're in the safe and they don't know about it. It's for them. But it was, at a time, it was for me. It was like, I'm going to buy this because I wanted it. You know, it was the kid in me. It was the turning 50 and the, oh no, you know, life-changing that happens to a lot of men and women for that matter. And now I realize I didn't need to buy the cars. I didn't need to do that. I probably should waste the money. I should be putting in a smarter direction. But I'll keep it as the point that if something happens to me, the kids get them. But they're nice cars. Every once in a while I drive them. Once in a while, not enough. And I have motorcycles too. Any other questions before I go? You, sir.
What's your plan to stop fly-by-night contractors and how to better educate homeowners?
I really believed by now, to be honest, that it would have been easy. That, you know, the government would have wake up. I work with the government, by the way. I do a lot with the government. I work with the police. I've done a lot of things. And what we need to do is create consequences that if you steal a pack of gum, you go to jail. So if you actually screw someone, you can go to jail. And until we create consequences, there is going to be no change. Homeowners just don't know. Remember, it's impulse. Education. I'm seeing the change, don't get me wrong. We gotta stop the salesman world because the salesman, and I'm not knocking salesmen, I'm trying very hard to be politically correct. A salesman's job is to sell stuff, right? I almost said shit. A salesman's job is to sell stuff. I get it. But if you're going to be a salesman, I don't care. Retrain your salespeople. They need to know everything they can. Little things that I just taught you about a thermal barrier over a thermal break. Little things I taught you about how mold grows and what you can do to make it change or how you can clean your air. Every salesman out there needs to know your company inside and out. They need to be, you create your own class. You teach them as much as you can because they represent you. And the more you do that, the better your company's going to be. Because what we want, the buyer, teach me something, right? We don't realize it, but you did like hearing about mold, didn't you? You just learned something. It was really simple. Okay, now I know what I can do not to do it. Here's a question for you. How do you clean mold? Please don't tell me bleach. Never use bleach to clean mold. Bleach is way worse for you than that simple small amount of mold. Soap and water. If you're nervous, put on a mask, put on gloves. You don't need it. The soap and the water will knock the spore count down. It won't allow it to fly through the air, and you just clean it nice and easy. Anything over 10 square feet of mold is considered for you to call in an abatement company, which is going to cost a lot of money. So staying on top of it is key. Okay? If you got a leak, pay attention to it. The roof's leaking, fix the roof. Don't call me. Make it right. Look at, thank you. All right, one more. Absolutely. I'm a fan of natural gas. Not a fan of off-gassing. Not a fan of off-gassing at all. So there's a lot of great products out there, but it's got to go hand in hand to everything that I've just been talking about. It's not just about the great product being installed in your home. It's also about understanding your home, how we can make it more energy efficient, how we can use less gas, how we can hold the heat more, hold the cool more in the summer. Simple theory. The more that we do this, the better for everyone. I don't care what anyone says. The better for everyone. That means less off-gassing. There's a shingle on the market right now. 3M put a coating on it. And this coating on the shingle, it's an asphalt shingle. And I'm not a fan of asphalt because it's an oil-based product, but it is a bare minimum, okay? I'm a fan of what 3M did. And then I'm a fan of what another company did, and I'm about to tell you, and then I'm going to leave. This coating that was put on top of the shingle stops the algae growth, the fungi growth on top of the shingle. And it usually happens in an area that the sun doesn't get to from raining. So much rain starts to build up, black runs down, gets on the side of the house. And it's more of a pain in the butt for appearance for families than it is understanding. So this product that 3M did is called Scotchgard. Funny they use that because they own Scotchgard, but anyhow. It prolongs the life and reduces the black. It reduces the fungi or the algae growth on top of the shingle. Now, a company took that same shingle, which I love. They started putting recycled products in it. Tires, milk jugs, and they made a shingle that is stronger, better, higher winds. Already it's not friendly shingle because it's asphalt, but they made it better. They made it last better. They guaranteed it. They stand up to it. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. We can take crap, dress it up, and make it a little better instead of using crap every single day. We have a better crap system. But it works. You know, to me, if you're going to do minimum, I want this. The wonderful thing about this is doing one whole roof with these shingles, because of the environmental aspect, it's like planting 2 trees in front of that house. That's what it does to the environment. Because those shingles will pull in, actually, off-gassing, hold it, not like trees, though, which give off oxygen from the off-gassing, but it's the equivalent of planting 2 trees. So not only are we putting up a better shingle, that used to be crap, that it's going to last longer, but it's helping the environment. Man, I will back that day in and day out. And that's what we need to do together. Thank you so much for coming out to see me so early in the morning. Let's keep making it right. Thank you.